Yeah, it all went a bit bonkers in the aftermath of the UEFA Champions League final as Mohamed Salah's injury, plus Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale both issuing far from subtle, "come and get me, please" sent the soccer world into a spin. Yet there was quite a significant announcement from UEFA which you may have missed, as European soccer's governing body released their UCL squad of the season for 2017-18, which was picked by their technical observers. 18 players were selected, with champions Real Madrid having 8 players selected: Keylor Navas, Sergio Ramos, Marcelo, Rafael Varane, Casemiro, Luka Modric, Toni Kroos and Cristiano Ronaldo in the squad, the most of any team, unsurprisingly, while finalists Liverpool had 3 players, with Virgil van Dijk, Roberto Firmino and Salah getting the nod. Bayern and Roma each had 2 players in the squad, while Lionel Messi was Barcelona's sole representative, as Kevin De Bruyne was the only Manchester City player included. Any glaring omissions? The likes of Sadio Mane, James Milner, Edinson Cavani, Harry Kane and Radja Nainggolan can all feel a little hard done by. Below is the squad in full. Chicago app midfielder Tobin Heath is back on the U.S. Women's national team roster after spending the start of the year recovering from surgery. Coach Jill Ellis named a 23-player roster Tuesday for a pair of exhibition matches against China next month. More, USSF details GM job duties. Heath, who turned 30 on Tuesday, hasn't played with the national team since appearing as a substitute in a friendly against New Zealand last September. She had surgery to remove bone growth on her right ankle in early January. Also returning to the national team is Julie Ertz, who missed a pair of April exhibition matches against Mexico because of a knee injury. Kristen Press, left off the roster for Mexico because she was not on a club team at the time, also returned to the roster. Press, who was traded to the Houston Dash in the off-season but never joined the National Women's Soccer League club, is currently playing in Sweden with Göteborg. The United States Soccer Federation's Chief Sport Development Officer clarified the role of the soon-to-be-hired USMNT General Manager on Tuesday, and it's not particularly straightforward or encouraging. More, Sarah Charnon-Bradley, Altidore, Nico Rome-IJN was tasked with explaining the job description for the GM position, for which Ernie Stewart is the reported frontrunner. There's some confusion in the powers of the GM, a newly created position. Part of the job duties include, according to ESPN's Jeff Carlisle, overseeing the technical side of the senior national team, including specifying the style of play the team will implement, as well as managing the day-to-day operations of the men's national team, driving the culture of the team, drive the process of hiring, firing the national team coach, building an integrated staff, and it's like a GM would hire Antonio Conte and then wait 2 weeks before saying, "Play 3 at the back and I'll fire you." Here's how it was laid out to Carlisle. In terms of hiring and firing the senior national team manager, Rome-IJN stated that the GM would research potential candidates, help compile a shortlist, and be an important part of the interview process, but that the ultimate decision would lie with the USSF Board of Directors. With regard to staff, Rome-IJN said he expected that the new manager would bring in some of his own people, but that it's not a given that all of the staff from the previous regime would be fired and thus start over from scratch. There is a very delicate balance here, and it would be wrong to approach all of these quotes with only skeptical eyes, and yes, we know that's very difficult given the past 8 months or so. First, keep this in mind: imagine if U.S. Soccer hired a general manager, especially one respected here and in Europe like Stewart, but the board of directors shot down his first recommended head coaching hire. That would be monumentally embarrassing for everyone. First, for the GM, who just may quit, but also for the board who would be saying the guy they hired picked the wrong coach. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. In terms of Romine's comments, it's fair to assume we're talking long-term in this job description, and it would be wrong to look at it in a myopic manner. And imagine a program is doing quite well, but needs a change at the top, as some would say was necessary when Jurgen Klinsmann was fired. In that instance, flipping the script on the whole project wouldn't make a ton of sense. All that said, it's also fair to load the idea that the board still has final approval of the coach hire. A federation, like any organization, should be built on trust. If the USSF believes Stewart, or whoever, is the right guy for the job, it shouldn't say, "Tell us who you like and then we'll decide whether it's a good idea." This isn't a parent asking a kid what movie to rent and then deciding, Die Hard is too profane. Yes, Mom, I'm still harboring a late 1980s VHS grudge, and also you were probably right. Yippee-ki-yay, Benny File Harbor. Follow at Nicolas Mendela. United States men's national team coach Dave Sarachan is hoping to stay on with the team once a permanent manager is appointed, and hopes he's not the only holdover from the previous setup. Bruce Arena's former assistant is unbeaten as interim boss following a 3-0 defeat of Bolivia on Monday, one achieved with a very young team and goals from Tim Ware, Walker Zimmerman, and Josh Sargent. USMNT Bolivia, player ratings, 3 things. The Yanks added Bobby Wood, DeAndre Yedlin, and 5 others for the next week's matches in Europe. And those familiar names likely won't be the only ones once a new cycle of World Cup qualifying resumes for the USMNT. Here's Sarachan, speaking to Yahoo before Monday's friendly. Guys like Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore, and I could name a few others, will absolutely still be in the mix, he says. They've been unfairly criticized. Leaving them out for these games is not a reflection of whether I feel they're going to be a part of the next cycle. While both Bradley and Altidore have taken a lot of grief for the USMNT's failure to qualify for Russia, some deserved, there should be little question their experience and expertise is more than enough to keep them in the picture. It's simply a matter of whether they can accept the idea of not being automatic starters if Josh Sargent, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Tim Ware continue to track as top young players. As for Sarachan, he's done an admirable job in a trying position so far. The only minor qualms with his work involve some missed opportunities to cap some called-up young players late in previous friendlies, but he had no problems achieving that objective on Monday. Given how the players have reacted to him, it'd be wise to keep Sarachan involved in some capacity. Heck, you never know when you'll need an interim boss again. I know. Follow at Nicolas Mendela. We're unsure the cat was in the bag for long at all, but it's out now. FC Cincinnati will join Major League Soccer and debut next spring. Team's status as a 2019 expansion club was announced at the Rheingeist Brewery on Tuesday. More transfer rumor roundup. FCC currently plays in the USL, and the club will remain as FC Cincinnati and continue playing at Nippert Stadium until its new soccer-specific stadium is completed in 2021. In a press release, owner Carl Lindner III called it a triumph for the continued renaissance of this incredible city. Watch the full press conference here. Follow at Nicolas Mendela.